Hello dear students, welcome to the another class of design of steel structure. The topic of this class is connections. Yes, connections. In case of construction of steel structure, we have to connect the different members with the help of some external members. These external members are called connecting procedures or connecting materials. Steel structure are formed by connecting available standard sections. Connections form an important part of any structure and are designed more conservatively than the individual members. This is because connections are more complex than members to analyze, and the discrepancy between analysis and actual behavior is large. Further, in case of overloading, we prefer the failure confined to an individual member rather than in connections, which could affect many members. Connections accounts for the major portion of the cost of structural steel work. Therefore, the design of connection is of primary importance for the safety and the economy of the structure. I want to discuss few examples built up sections. Those are provided to meet the requirement of heavy loads and long spans. These sections need to be connected together to act as one unit. We may discuss a second example also. For the long span, the length of the standard section may not be sufficient, and this needs the connection of multiple number of standard length section to make up the required length. So already you have understand the importance of connection in steel structure. So the connections provided in steel structure can be classified as follows: rivet, bolt, weld. These three type of connections generally used: rivet, bolt, and weld. But rivet connection is obsolete nowadays. But there is a very great example of rivet connection in front of us is Howrah Bridge, first Howrah Bridge. The structural members of Howrah Bridge are connected with rivet. Rivet are just like you can say a pin. We have to punch that and fix them. But I don't want to discuss any more about rivet because this is obsolete. So now we will discuss about bolt connection. So in this picture, in this note, you can see a bolt. Let me zoom the picture. I think now it is visible for you, right? Okay. This is a very common picture. You've seen this kind of bolts and nuts everywhere in many connections, in furniture, in many connections. But in case of structural steel, the size and strength of these bolts are bigger than furnitures and any other areas. So uh, actually, a bolt is metal pin with a head formed at one end and the shank threaded at the other end in order to receive a nut. Bolts are used for joining together pieces of metals by inserting them through the holes in the metal and tightening the nut at the threaded end. Look, in this picture, there is a bolt head, then a nominal diameter, then a threaded area. As I discussed earlier, threaded is an area is used to tightening the member. In threaded area, the diameter, or we can say the cross sectional area, is reduced than the plain shank area. In case of bolt, maybe the whole shank portion is threaded, maybe a specific portion of the shank is threaded. In this picture, you can see there is plain shank area 50% and 50% is threaded area, and this is nut. Bolt connections have some advantages and some disadvantages. First of all, I like to discuss some advantages of bolt connections. First one is the erection of the structure can be speeded up. Second is do not need very skilled labor. Third, making joints is noiseless. Fourth, needs less labor. Fifth, structure can be put to use immediately after construction. Sixth, alteration, if any, can be done easily. Seventh, is working area required in the field is less. Now, few disadvantages of bolted connections. Cost of the bolt material is high, so overall construction cost is slightly increased. Second, the tensile strength of bolt connection is reduced because of area reduction at the root of the thread and also due to stress concentration. Third one is when subjected to vibration or shocks, bolts may be get loose. So we have to regularly check it, and maintenance cost is higher than other connections. The holes made for placing the bolts in the metals may either be drilled or punched. IS 800 limits the use of punched holes to the material with yield stress less than 360 MPa or 360 Newton per millimeter square. Now we will discuss about joints of members. The left side you can see a joint which is called lap joints. LAP, lap joints. The two members to be connected are overlapped and connected together. Such a joint is called lap joint, as you can see in this figure. If there is a single bolt between these two members, it will be called single bolted lap joint. If there is two bolts, it will be called double bolted lap joints. Now the second one, at right side you can see a joint which is called butt joint. The two members to be connected are placed end to end. Additional plates provided on either one or both sides, which are called cover plates. If the plate is placed on single side, either top or bottom, it is called single cover butt joint. If the plate or plates placed on top and bottom both sides, this is called double cover butt joint. Let's discuss about the load transfer mechanism of bolt when it is connected with a plate. Depending on the type of bolts used for connection, maybe it's ordinary bolt or maybe it's high strength bolt, the load transfer from one connected member to another may be by shear and bearing or by friction. The diagram of load transfer mechanism you can see at the top of this page. The load transfer by shear and bearing is called bearing type connection, and that of by friction is called slip resistance or slips critical connection. In slip resistant connections, the entire forces are resisted by the friction between the plates, and the joints are not really placed in shearing and bearing. Now we will discuss about the failure of the bolted joints, because in case of design we have to design against these failures. So there are mainly four types of failure: shear failure, bearing failure, failure due to tension, and block shear failure. Every failure we may consider for plate and bolts both, but in practice we have to consider shear failure and bearing failure for bolts only, and tension failure for plates only, and block shear failure is obviously due to bolt. Let's discuss in detail about these failures. First of all, shear failure of bolt. Shear stress are generated when the plates slip due to the applied forces. The maximum shear stress in the bolt may exceed the nominal shear capacity of the bolts. Shear failure of the bolt takes place at the bolt shear plane, as you can see in the diagram. In bolted connection, there are two type of shear failures occurs: single shear failure and double shear failure. So in case of lap joint and in case of single covered butt joint, single shear failure will occur, because only one plane of bolt may be fail in shear. But in case of double cover butt joint, you can see in this figure, shear failure occurs at in two planes of a bolt. This kind of shear failure is called double shear failure. Now next is bearing failure of bolt. In this kind of failure, the bolt is crushed around the half circumference. The plate may be strong in bearing, and the heaviest plate may press the bolt shank, as you can see in this figure. Now next one is failure due to tension. Failure due to tension we generally consider only for plate, or we can say rupture of plate. It occurs when the bolt is stronger than the plate material. Now, last one is block shear failure. The failure of connections in block shear may occur when a block of material within the bolted area breaks away from the remainder area. Possibility of this kind of failure increase when the high strength bolts are used. You can see in this figure the block shear failure. The plate is failed in a block. So these are the failures which occurred in a bolted connections. Now we will learn about arrangement and terminologies for bolt joints. In this page you can see two figures. At top, the arrangement of bolt in chain pattern, and at bottom, arrangement of bolt in staggered pattern. So first of all, come to the chain pattern. With the help of this picture, we will try to understand the terminologies. So you can see here there are 1 2 3 4 5 numbers of rows of bolt. There are few abbreviation to denote something, so we have to know this abbreviation before design or before solving any problem. First, you can see at top there is a center to center distance of two bolt, that is denoted by P. P denotes pitch. Actually, pitch distance is a center to center distance of two consecutive bolts measured along row of the bolts parallel to the direction of the loading in a member. Now, at left side, there is a center to center bolt distance and denoted by G. There is an abbreviation G. G is gauge distance. It is the distance, actually it is a center to center distance between two consecutive bolts of the adjacent rows and is measured perpendicular to the direction of bolts. Now, at bottom right side, you can see there is an abbreviation E, small e. Small e denotes edge distance. It is the distance of the center of bolt hole from the adjacent end of the plate. Now, at bottom, you can see a distance which is denoted by small e dashed, that is end distance. It is the distance of the center of nearest bolt hole from the end of the plate. Now, see at staggered pattern, that means the picture at the bottom of this page. This is staggered pattern. You can see the difference between chain and staggered pattern. And a new terminology is introduced here, that is called staggered pitch distance, small p suffix s. It is the center to center distance of staggered bolts measured obliquely on the member.